Hi there guys, this is Simon from IV Audio, and today I'm going to be giving you an overview of Scott Drums. Scott Drums is a rock kit performed by my friend Scott McGowan. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. We close mic'd every piece in the kit. I think it was a total of 11 microphones. We put an ambient in the studio, and we recorded tons of round robins, tons of articulations, and stuck it all together into this sample library. So let's jump right in. First off, on the keyboard, we have nice color coding for all of the different parts of the kit. So I'm just going to go over everything that we recorded. We have the kick down here, rim shot, snare, flams, rolls, and the rolls are mod wheel controlled. I'm going to have issues doing that right now because I don't have a keyboard with a mod wheel on it, but that does crossfade between several dynamic layers. Also, if you play a low dynamic level, you get a slower, more like a marching roll, and if you play faster, you get a closer to a buzz roll. And we have the snare with the snare wires disengaged. Up here on the sharps, we have some extra articulations, stick hits, rim hits, and grace notes or ghost notes. In the red, we have our toms. Tom 1, Tom 2, and the floor tom. Over in the green, we have our hi-hat articulations. The black keys are the open articulations, so half and fully open. And then on the whites, we have our mute keys. So this is a mute where you hit the hi-hat. This is just a mute closing it using the pedal. So either of these can serve as a mute to either of the open articulations. And we have multiple velocities on both the hits and the mutes. Over here is a cymbal scrape on the hi-hat, and you can mute that as well. Next up we have our cymbals. Ride, crash, another crash, and a splash, each with their own mute. I believe that's 22-inch ride, 16-inch crash, 12-inch crash, and 10-inch splash. Lastly, we have stick clicks. And up here we have our cymbal scrapes, which again you can mute with these keys down here, though it would make more sense to mute them with a lower dynamic level. So that's all of the articulations we've recorded. Now onto the UI. We have many microphones for this library, as well as a master mix. So if you mute all of these mics and just have the master mix, it's the equivalent of having all of these up at the same level. So if you want a real fast way to start writing something, just enable the master mix. It's about half a gig of RAM, very light considering the amount of recorded material that we have. So let's unmute a couple of these. The solo button and the mute button do work. That's a good thing. That took a long time to get working. And you can also purge or load samples. When it's red, they're purged. As you can see, it's unloaded from RAM. And if we enable those, we get them back in. This little drop-down arrow underneath every one allows you to route every mic to its own stereo output within Kontakt, which is quite nice, so you can do some individual processing. And if you click the effects button, you get some built-in effects. We have stereo width, equalizer, transient designer, compressor, and reverb, all just built-in Kontakt effects with a nice UI front end. You can enable or disable any of the effects using little toggles down here. And these are, of course, per channel. The last thing I'm going to go over is the dry mix mode. Now, by default, all of these function exactly as if you had mic'd up the kit and just played something on it, right? So if I play a kick, I'm getting the sound of the kick through the hi-hat, the overheads, and the master. So if I enable the dry bus, I get this extra dry channel over here. Now what this means is that if I play a kick, only the sound from the kick mic goes to the dry bus. If I play a snare, only the sound from the snare mic goes to the dry bus. And I can control the level of how much gets sent to the dry bus using these sliders down here in the dry strip. So I do have to have the kick mics loaded in order for the sound from the kick mics to go there, so we're going to unpurge these. They don't even have to be on, they just have to be loaded into RAM. So now if I play a kick, you can see we're getting the kick mic through there. If I solo this channel, super dry, tight sound, just the kick running through the dry bus. If I play a snare, well, I'll have to load the snare samples first. Just the sound from the snare mics going through there. I can also adjust whether I want just the top or just the bottom. And you can reset any of these to their default values by control-clicking. So that's an overview of Scott Drums. You can download it for free at ivyaudio.com, where you can also find some other free libraries. Commercial use is totally fine, though I ask that you not redistribute the library without my permission. I do like hearing what people write with my libraries, so if you have a demo track, I'd love to hear it. You can send it to contact@ivyaudio.com or get in touch via social media. I hope you enjoy using the library, and in closing, I'll leave you with a very rough track that I've started using Scott drums, some brass, and some strings. It's currently unnamed, so here you have Unnamed Song.